Hello and welcome to our third of the Filthy 15 on Pop Culture Reacts as we are working our way through the 80s list of evil and terrible filth. Filth!
We hit the shores of America this time though, don't we? They're
We
looking in their
do.
own backyard this time out.
So this was brought to the list because of violence.
Oh.
And we have Motley Crue and Bastard.
Bastard! You're
Bastard!
right, bastard!
So, what are your feelings with the Crew?
It's hard with the Crew, isn't it? Because there's a big blob of human being in the Crew that is always going to sully one's opinion of the Crew. In Tommy Lee. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure I can. I'm not sure I'm adult enough, um, objective enough, not to every time I hear it think of him, and a shudder go down my spine of that there's human beings on this planet like him. So yeah, let's. Since we're in America, I'll plead the fifth on this one, on my and we'll kind of see after the song. But yeah, I do. All joking aside, I do find it really hard to divorce them from the him that I know of later years, and I find him quite a wretched human being. So yeah, I find it a real problem.
So, I do quite like a bit of Crew. One of those bands, again, like Priest, where I would never go to their own show, but if they're at a festival that I'm at, I'm gonna go and see them because they can do an hour of bangers. Vince Neil can't sing them anymore, but still, because Vince Neil, see Axl Rose as well. Just
Yeah, but again, I guess like a lot of the let's go sort of AC/DC into Judas Priest into this. All musical styles and singing styles that are really going to take their toll more than some others, aren't they?
yes,
It's going to be hard to maintain because you're destroying your vocal cords. Well, and not just with the singing. Let's be honest, it's a hard life they're
not
living. But
not in Motley Crue's case anyway.
yeah. I do think it is probably quite hard to do, but yeah, I. So did we say violence for this one?
Yes,
Was the main reason? Okay, I'm going to look out for the violence. No mention of sex. Our
no,
first non-sex based one. Yeah, I'm intrigued. Yeah, as I say, hard for me to divorce my feelings and other things, and even harder after you brought the absolute trash fire that was Methods of Mayhem to this channel. I'll never
so
forget. I'll never wash that foul taste out of my ears, if that makes any sense.
so shall we become bastards?
Yeah, let's do it. And as I say, we are on the shores of America. There is a little part of me that is gutted that the first song that's called "Bastard" isn't some Northern English gentleman because we just say it better, don't we, over here?
We do.
Right, let's do this.
Gotta love an 80s fade out.
Yeah, quite. I was weird enough. I was thinking exactly that. I quite liked the end of that song. I thought it was quite nice juxtaposition to the speed and what they'd done with everything else in this song. So you're right, bastard. What did you think of that?
So obviously this was picked up for lyrics such as "Go out in the lights, in goes the knife, pull out his life, consider that bastard dead." It does do exactly what it says on the tin. There is
Yeah, I
definite
mean, there's no
violent lyrics.
hiding. Yeah, there's no hiding that like they're talking about knifing someone. Uh, so I guess first things first. Like, how do we feel about a song that is talking about violence? Let's use that specific line about the knife goes into you. How do we feel about the idea of a song that talks about someone being stabbed or someone stabbing someone, probably closer? Like, is there a world? Is there something in the world of music that says we should talk about that sort of stuff? And is it particularly corrupting and affecting for the wee innocents for this to exist?
See, we've done a much more violent gang-related song when we did Immortal Technique.
Yeah,
There is definitely a time and a place for this sort of thing to be in a song,
yeah,
and also I can see why this gets flagged up because of is 8-year-old little Johnny who lives in bumblefuck America need to know about
a real place.
stabbing his schoolmate or something like that? Probably not, because
Yeah,
you put it behind Motley Crue's speed and fun with their musically, it makes it sound like a fun little jaunt to go and stab someone and blow off their head. But is it, gonna make you go and do it? Probably not.
no, and I feel like there's a huge bit of context that the PMRC chose to ignore here. Is the "You're the king of the sleaze, don't you try to rape me." So effectively, and I know that comes back in later, and certainly when we get to like the second verse, there's a lot more kind of lean into that bastard, and that there is a real bastard, and I guess part of it will come down to going, well, is there ever any justification for violence or stabbing someone? But I think like I kind of read it as this is someone who's not a good person, not the person stabbing, the person being stabbed. Be it something right the way up to kind of the devil, or right the way down to an abuser
Yeah.
who has abused someone. And I don't know. I think that brings the glorification levels of it down. You
Mm.
said it with a mortal technique. This feels like an attempt to almost tell a story, like more than, oh, wouldn't it be fun if we just make a song about stabbing people?
Yeah.
Which is what it feels like. The criteria they kind of pulled it under was leaning to, and there's a part of me that wonders whether they ever listened to this song and they just were reading lyrics and went, well, that's a bad lyric, so that should go on band list.
So I think if you look at the people that were in the PMRC, they probably weren't listening to Motley Crue, and
Yeah, but
especially
you
with an
would
album
think,
that they probably saw a picture of them, got handed a lyric sheet, and went that one because
well,
I
and you
think
should
they
say
could have picked a lot of them.
the album Shout the Devil, isn't it? And I
Yeah.
think maybe kind of the album titles influencing my thought process on this. But that's why I went to kind of right up to Devil, because when you get into that second verse, there's like quick as a shark, beast has its mark. And I don't know, like, beast could be a shark, but obviously you think of the devil often as the beast and things like that. But yeah, I wonder whether you're right. They kind of went, hang on a minute, there's an album that says devil. We better at least hit one of these tracks.
Yeah, and look
Yeah,
at them. Look at them. They look like lady boys. What's going on?
yeah, yeah, it probably
And
did. That probably did happen. That exact conversation. That's the scary thing, isn't it? Of going,
yep.
oh, like screw their lyrics. We don't want the children to be corrupted by these men who have ladies' hair.
And wearing spandex and Look at what they're wearing. Ah,
Yeah, yeah. As I say, like I think ultimately this one may well come down to people's feelings about um, touching on any violence in a song, and I can't lie and not say that it's not there, but yeah, it feels more like a sort of parable than anything else,
mm,
and yeah. I don't know. Feels like a rough one for the Filthy 15 for me. Yeah, feels like again another overreaction, and I think maybe there might be other influences that drove this into it rather than maybe the content of this song.
yeah. So obviously, if we're going on the violence side, if and sort of contextually at that time, look at country music and the plethora of murder ballads
Yeah,
that go into a lot of detail in how Annie killed her cheating husband and got away with it or things like that. There is it's not a new phenomenon to have a violent story to a song,
yeah.
and you put this in front of a lot of people, they're going to hear the guitars, they're not really going to hear a lot of the lyrics, and they'll just hear bastard. Whereas you
And I
play them
think
a murder ballad, but in a country style murder ballad, they're going to hear every single word on that. Think
and I think
Delilah.
bastard could be a flag as well, couldn't it? Like I know
Yeah.
you sort of said it there. I think like language sensitivities were a lot more back then, and I think they could have kind of gone, well, look, it's lathered straight on there. That's what it's called, and we don't really want people reading that. Or and when I think we said either in the first one of these or the second one of these, never did me any harm, and there's us going bastard, bastard. So maybe it did us some harm from that side. Like maybe it harmed the use of the English language, but I don't know. Like I wonder. Yeah, I wonder whether it was that's the big ticket item of going. We don't want kids as much as like I don't think a lot of kids, young kids, would have listened to it anyway. Like
Mm,
I think a lot of kids, young kids, skew to poppy pop anyway. But I think for your sort of 14, 15-year old, or maybe sort of 13 and above on this, yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it's going to make them go out and stab anyone. I don't think it's going to make them violent. I don't think it's going to impact them too far. And I'll go back to that gratuitous thing. I don't feel like, bearing in mind what I said about my unconscious bias against Motley Crue as an entity because of Tommy Lee. I don't even feel like this is it got anything exploitative to it. Even with the
yeah.
title, I just doesn't feel like they just went, "Oh, let's be edgy," like for no reason. I don't know. This just feels like they had a story to tell. They did it, and they did it via the medium of song.
Yes. So before we leave, we'll just have a hit on the song. What did you think of Bastard as a musical piece?
I mean, like, it's wafer thin, isn't it? Like on lyrics again.
Yeah.
They,
This
they,
is Motley
the
Crue.
the PMRC clearly didn't want to pick songs with like lots of lyrics. Maybe they were doing some sort of percentage quota. And again, I think I said it on Judas Priest. I think I would have liked another verse. I
Mm,
think it would have been assisted by it, but it's fine, isn't it? Like, and that's fine in a good way. Like, not no fine, but it gets in, it does its thing, it gets out, doesn't it? It
yeah.
doesn't kind of outstay its welcome. It moves along like a fair old trot. What is there lyrically? I actually thought was quite interesting, and I think that was what actually for me the most compelling part of it. But that's all right.
Which is, the highest rating that Tommy Lee's had so far on here.
Oh God, yeah. Like on the Tommy Lee scale, that's almost like saying, give him 8,000 Grammys, give him a lifetime achievement award, like for this song, for being involved, for being in the room when this happened.
For banging things.
Yeah.
So,
What about
I
you? What about you?
oh yes,
It's not.
yes.
Yeah. How did you find it?
I love when crew go fast. I love when they sort of go for that sort of quick, high energy stuff, which this album and the second album have a lot of the faster stuff. It's once you get to like Doctor Feelgood, you start getting the more sleazier stuff in there. But yeah, the early two Crew albums have got absolute rages on them, and it's when you see them now trying to play that quick and they just can't do it. It's like, oh, damn it!
You can see how their popularity birthed, can't you?
Yeah,
And you know, I kind of remember. I mean, my music coming into music and listening to a lot was a few years after this. Not tons, but I guess I was seeing a lot of the byproducts of bands doing songs like this, and yeah, I can easily see why they had and have a following based off of this. It's very 80s hair tastic, isn't it?
yes, and it then got to even more wafer thin lyrics and stuff. So like after this, when they get to girls, girls, girls,
Yes.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
that's the level of where they got. But down there, would this offend you? Do you feel it's filthy
Yeah.
enough for the 15?
And like now that hopefully you've joined us for these three and we're going to do the whole 15, like maybe in your own brains do a bit of a filthy scale. Like how does it compare against others, and maybe at the end of it like we have a what was the filthiest of them all as a badge of honor.
Yes. So, as always, like, subscribe, ring the bell, all the YouTubey things, and until next time, remember, stay filthy. Goodbye.